Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pod with Rob Whalen with us today. He's CEO and co-founder at PTO Exchange, sales guy with huge experience, serial entrepreneur as well. Gonna have fun today. This pod is brought to you by podpire.com. That's my podcasting company. If you want to start yours or scale yours, go to podpire.com. We can help you monetize quickly. Rob, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and PTO.
Yeah, Charles, thanks for having me on today. So a little bit about myself. Serial entrepreneur, and really with my background is in accounting. So educated in accounting, but spent all of my time after graduation in technology, mainly because my uncle was a serial entrepreneur in tech, and so he got me a job right out of college, just saying, "Hey, you need to go into tech. That's where it's headed." And so that's where I wound up going. Learned how to sell semiconductors to engineers that were building really innovative products, from barcoders to cell phones to, vision glasses, everything way back when. And then did software. So, but this is my fifth or sixth company. And it is, all of them are somewhat different. Most of them were in software. One of them was in manufacturing of alcohol. So a vodka, gin, whiskey business that built with a couple of friends and then sold it off.
Very nice. Let's start
Yep.
with your uncle, because my dad was an entrepreneur, and he still is. Got inspired from him, consciously, subconsciously as well. What did you learn from your uncle?
Well, there's a lot I learned, but my father was an entrepreneur too, but my uncle was very serial, and I think he just what I learned from him was that the constant work, the 24/7 work ethic, and that the business never really runs itself. You have to be there, and as the CEO, you have to really show up. Like, you have to be there every day. And I notice it here. When I'm in the office with the people, it's a little bit different vibe than when I'm out traveling trying to raise capital. But I also learned a lot about failures from him, because his companies failed. I watched him. One of his companies failed. They took over his house, and he went in less than 3 weeks later, raised some more capital, bought the inventory at pennies on the dollar from the bank, and restarted the same company with the same inventory, and then took write-off losses for the company that he lost. And so when you're an accountant, you start to understand how these numbers work on paper, and he used them to the best of his ability. And failure was okay. It wasn't optimum, but it was part of the risk that you were taking as an entrepreneur. He then started a company by the name of Edmark, which was built for educational software for his daughter, who was mentally handicapped, and built that to a multi-million-dollar business and sold it off to IBM for roughly about $100 million. So
What a guy.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
I think
very inspiring.
he started well over 30 plus companies in his lifetime.
When you're at 6, so you have some way to go.
Oh, I'm not getting there. No. That's not that's not a goal.
Well, you seem more structured, right? And you seem a bit like more on the other side of risk, like less taking than your uncle. As an accountant, someone that looks at the numbers, you're a bit more conservative in your risk
I am.
palette.
I am somewhat less conservative, but I also uh, think that you need to have a business or build a product that has a value that someone's willing to pay for. Um, I was actually watching one of your podcasts with Seth Levin, and his comment about finding market fit is very difficult. And sometimes you have to have a head, it looks like a head fake. And I think that's what entrepreneurs sometimes lose track of, is that when you start with a product that you seem to feel like it's market fit, understanding that it might just be a head fake. And so you have to continually keep your eye on the customer and keep your eye on the value that you're delivering, so that you don't get churn for your customers. And in a SaaS-based model, with the cost of a customer acquisition, you need to be able to make sure that you can keep your customers long term. So you need to be able to keep providing value for them.
Right. I think trying to find the right analogy to describe like the market, right? Like all the noise and all the chaos, and you as a founder trying to put your ears and try to listen and decipher. Um, is it like Leonidas in the 300s when he goes to see the oracles to get the visions, Because as soon as you take your ear off the market and you're like by your own and building stuff, the market might change. And I feel things are getting faster and faster. So how do you approach product market fit on your side?
Well, initially, the problem that we were solving was that everyone usually gets around 3 weeks of paid time off every year, but they only use 1 week or 2 weeks of it. And so that there was this 1 week of paid time off or benefits that an employee was getting, but they weren't getting any of the value out of it. So we took something that we knew was out there and not being utilized, and tried to build capabilities to where an employee could get more value out of their paid time off. And so understanding accounting and knowing that those companies were accruing that liability on the books, giving them a way to remove that liability on the books, as well as giving the employee some value, was a win-win situation. So we felt like we had a good problem market fit, and then we started to, and again, we didn't know it would work or not. And when we started the company, we just felt like it would work. And so we went out there and then realized that the laws and all of the compliance around compensation structure was very difficult to get around. So we then had to solve that problem. But once we got the product out and some customers going on it, we started to look where were benefits going. But we had to align it. When you start talking about product market fit, not every customer is going to be different. So we had to really have this customizable platform that every customer could get value out of. But in doing so, we also started to look at the workforce and the changing workforce in today's environment, which you're seeing it, Charlie, as gig economy, right? And work from home. And the workforce is changing. So how are the benefits that these companies are paying for to retain them, to attract them, to keep them productive, changing as well? And I think that's where my thinking has been, which is, what are benefits going to look like in 10 years? And if I keep thinking that way, and then making sure that I'm always thinking of the customer, I think we'll have some failures, but we'll also be headed in the right direction to win the business and to grow our market share and to grow the market itself.
I think it's
And I know that was a mouthful.
no, it was great. I think the idea is that it's a bit well, it's super niche, so that's great, and it's wild also. It's like exchange your paid time off, so the vacation for cash. So sort of interesting, and I guess you partner with brands. I see athletic wear. I see that you have emergency funds.
Yep.
I see that you have a bunch of cool options here. Apparently, there's been 51 million traded so far.
Yeah.
So, how do you make
Yep.
money off that?
So we make a transaction fee. So similar to like Visa, who makes 3% on a transaction, we do the same thing. So we don't make money unless someone actually uses the system. And by doing that, we actually align our value proposition and our revenue at the same activity engagement. And so similar to when you go buy, let's just say you're going to go buy a sweater, right? You go pay for it. So the person's getting the money and you're getting the sweater. So we don't make money unless somebody uses our platform. And by doing this, it does a couple of things. A company is not paying or overpaying for its value. It's paying exactly what their employees want. And so we actually have zero churn. We have zero churn in our customers. And this is the reason why. Now, as you start to look at paid time off, a lot of people don't understand that 3 weeks of your time is 6% of your total compensation. Okay, so if you're looking at your salary and it's $100,000 salary, 6% is $6,000. So if you don't use 1/3 of that, that's $2,000. You're giving back $2,000. And in today's world, a majority of people, I think it's 65%, don't have $400 in their savings account for an emergency, but yet they have $2,000 to $3,000 sitting in their PTO bank that they're not going to use. Okay. What if you could take that and put it into your 401k, pay down student loans, all these different types of benefits for the employee, that instead of just taking the time off? And that's really what we're trying to solve for, is trying to make your employees more satisfied, be able to use 100% of their benefits, and also be able to sustain themselves in just living.
And you take off 1 to 3% out of that cash?
Oh no, no, we
no?
we take a larger percent. We take about 7.5%.
That's pretty good. So 5 mil out of the 51 mil, we could say, or something like that. I
Yep.
mean, the 0% churn must be really attractive to VCs.
It is, right? Our LTV and CAC is really good, and we run the company very conservatively. Kind of my background, but yeah, and again, the reason is because a company wouldn't churn if they're not overpaying for something, and they don't. They get value for what we're doing. And if nobody exchanges on the platform, we make no money. So that means that we have to be providing value to get that money. We have to continue to think about the customer and build the product for the customer so that our revenue can increase.
And you make money off partnerships as well. What are your other revenue channels?
So we also make revenue off of Priceline. So we have a relationship with Priceline. So if you take your time and use it to buy airfare and hotel and go on a vacation that you may not have been able to afford, we'll make revenue streams off that. If you take your PTO and put it onto a debit card, we'll get merchant fees for that. We also have some customers that don't want a transaction fee and just want to pay us per monthly, and we'll do that as well. So there are different revenue streams. We have a number of products that we're coming out with as well, that are based on the PTO Exchange platform, that build more value for our employees and the employers themselves.
I think you last raised some time ago. Do you have plans in going for a Series
Yep.
A or something soon?
Yep, we are. So we raised a while ago, and again, like I said, we use our money pretty conservatively, and then we did a safe note. So we did a $3 million safe note, which will get us out to 2025, and that's really where we're going to raise our Series A. And at that rate, we'll be well past a Series A piece. So with our revenue streams.
So an IPO in less than 7 years.
IPO. I don't know the IPOs in our future, but certainly a liquidity event for our investors.
It's a really cool niche. It's a humongous niche as well. I don't think you have much competitors.
We have a few competitors, but a lot of them, again, they don't have a lot of customers, and we don't feel that they're compliant, because the compliance piece of this is almost a moat for us to get around. And so because of our knowledge about the space, we feel like our customers know when they come and talk to us that they're talking to experts. And in fact, most of the consultants we work with actually ask us in to talk to their customers about the compliance issues that they might run into. And we talk to attorneys all day long about this when we're going through the sales cycle, just so that our customers feel comfortable with what we're doing and that their attorneys feel comfortable in what's going on. And so again, we're very, very well versed in this compliance arena. Did I lose you? I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
sure
back. Not sure why my M3 sometimes is brain lagging.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so I thought IPO, like PTO rhymes with IPO, would be pretty great, but how many acquisitions have you got so far, or exits under your belt?
3.
Yeah, how
3 out
many
of
yeah, 3. Okay,
3.
sorry, I misheard that.
Yep, 3.
So I guess an acquisition by a big bank focused on other businesses would make potentially more
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. So somebody, a bank, an insurance company, financial institution would be an acquirer, as well as a ben admin company could also acquire us. I mean, there's a payroll company could acquire us. There's a lot of areas for acquisition in what we're doing. Do I think it has the capability of an IPO? Yeah, our market's big enough. There's no doubt. But the reality is we're focused on today and trying to get 12 months out, and we're not thinking. I'm really not thinking 3 to 5 years out. That's just too far to really put activities around on my day to day. And so I think 12 to 18 months is how I look at the business.
Right. So you're looking for the next round. You're probably looking at customer acquisition as any great CEO would. What are your top objectives this year?
So our top objective this year is to get to profitability. That is our number one objective, and I think we'll be very close to that being profitable. So that's one of the goals of this year. And our other goal is last year we grew 80%, and we're hoping to grow a little above that this year. But I think the big piece to our business is we're actually keeping our expenses. Last year, our expenses only grew 17% compared to our 80% top line. And this year, I think we'll maybe grow 8% on the bottom line and close to 90% on the top line. And that's how you're going to get to profitability. And we feel like we can grow the business fairly well using that model and using our capital in that manner.
And as someone with huge sales experience, what are your GTM strategies this year?
So our go-to-market strategies aren't really changing. We've been acquiring or actually partnering with larger consultants in the benefit space, so like Aon and Mercer. We also are looking to partner with more 401k providers. So we're already partnered with Transamerica, and they're outselling our product, but we want to partner with Voya and a few of the other 401k people that are managing 401ks. So, again, growing our partnerships so that they're outselling our product to grow their AUM, because that's really what we're looking at. Is this is just another way for employees to put more money into their 401k, which is more AUM for those companies. And over the long run, that's a good thing. So from the go-to-market strategy, that's one of our focal points. The other piece is just a more seamless integration to some of these partners. Opening up our API in a more seamless way, so there's more seamless usability through the platform. But from the product standpoint, we're coming out with our mobile app this year, which will be released at the end of March. We're going to be also releasing a product called Instant Cash PTO, which you can get your PTO instantly, similar to an earned wage access. And we're also going to be building an emergency savings exchange that'll be coming out in late July.
Seems to me that partnerships are probably the most interesting directions in sales in the upcoming times. Did you build the company with that at the back end? What's your experience with partnerships, and what's your outlook on
Yeah,
this part of sales?
so we knew we had to have partnerships, Charles. We absolutely, this market, products are sold through brokers, through consultants, through Ben admin platforms, through payroll systems. We knew that those integrations, those partnerships, that go-to-market strategy, we had to have it, and we had to do well at it. That being said, I think if an entrepreneur tells you that they're going to build their business off of their partnerships, I will tell you in the beginning that won't happen. You have to have direct sales. So today, 60% of our sales are direct, 40% are partnerships. Now, I think this year in 2024, that's probably going to be a 50-50. And I think in 2025, that's going to be a 60-40. And when we get to that, when we're at 60%, where our go-to-market and our revenue and our leads and our lead generation is coming from our partnerships, and 40% is coming from our direct, I think that's when you're going to see scalability. And everyone, as a company, when you see your revenue, our growth rate is great, but I think you're going to see that arc in once we get to that 60-40, where our partners are selling 60% and we're selling 40%. And I think that's just normal.
Last, what challenge have you faced in that business, and how did you surmount these?
What challenges did I? So do you want to know the challenges that I've faced in this business, or the go-to-market piece of the business, or both, or
Any challenges, the most striking ones?
I think the most striking ones were when we started the company. We thought you could just exchange paid time off, and it was not. It was just going to be easy, straightforward. We didn't understand all the laws that were around pre-tax and post-tax, and qualified and non-qualified deferred compensations and things like this. We didn't, and all my accounting experience didn't lend itself to this. We ran into this with lawyers, and so we wound up working with some of the top lawyers, and they're still our lawyers in the United States, across the country, on how do you solve this problem, and working with and they work with the IRS, by the way. And then we also went to DC and started to talk to a lot of senators, and talk to the Joint Committee for Taxation around some of these laws that had been created, that really these laws had unintended consequences. And I think that's what most people don't understand, is that these laws that are being built back in DC, they're not built by accountants and entrepreneurs and people that are driving businesses. They're built by these people that don't really understand the world that's operating. And so their intent is good. I'm not saying that they don't have good intent. They do. I think it's the way they write the laws and what they're trying to do. And I think that's just their approach. I'm going to give you one example. In Seattle here, right? Seattle, we had city council that just put a law out saying, we want all these gig workers to be able to make a minimum wage. So they put in this tax for the food delivery business. That came into effect in January 13th here. Now, the cost of getting something through DoorDash is so large that I just read the other day, down $30,000 deliveries like a week. So now all these DoorDash people, because it costs so much, nobody's using them, and they aren't making any money. So the intention of the law was a good one. The implementation of it, they didn't understand. And so it had a repercussion effect to it, which is negative. And now they're going to have to repeal that law, because all the DoorDash people can't pay rent because they can't make money because it's too expensive to use a DoorDash service. It's gotten too costly. Anyhow, that was my biggest challenge. we've overcome that, and we're in a great position. And I think, again, those challenges that you go through as an entrepreneur, those are some of the places where a competitor may not be able to get over. Okay, those pieces that you can build a moat around. By the way, channel or go to market is also a moat as well. So if you're able to have all the partners, they don't really want to have 2 or 3 solutions. So it's more like they want to be selling the best solution. And so it's harder for those competitors to go out and get partners when you're already in partnership with them.
Rob, thanks so much for the value added today. Where can people find out more about you?
You can reach me on LinkedIn, Rob Whalen at PTO Exchange, or you can, if you need any information on PTO Exchange, go to ptoexchange.com, or you can get information at info@ptoexchange.com as well.